Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and never miss an episode. So I want to finish this week out, send you into the weekend talking about the dreaded R word. You know what? We set our business up during the last recession, and in success groups and across our masterminds, we kind of have a little rule where, nobody mentions recession. The reason I'm talking so much about it right now is really simple. It's because a lot of small business owners don't seem to realize what is ahead of us. And therefore, once we get into this thing fully, once again, we will probably almost certainly ban the recession word. But right now, I'm using it a lot and increasingly at the moment because I can see what I sometimes describe, and I've described it on these podcast episodes recently, is like a tsunami of a negative economy potentially bearing down on us. Obviously, we can sit here and cross our fingers and we can hope that we bounce back and the economy bounces back. But I've said it before, I'll say it again now. We can't neglect the fact that the economy has been artificially propped up by government initiatives, etc. So the furlough scheme's due to run out in October. I heard the other day there's like 9 million on that. That seems like an incredible number of people. So you can imagine what's going to happen when 9 million people come off the furlough scheme. They won't have the jobs that they had before they went on the furlough scheme. Not all of them, but we know there's a good proportion of people that are unemployed right now that don't know they're unemployed right now. So that shitstorm's going to hit around October and going into autumn. We also know, of course, there's been a lot of grants and loans, and there's been a lot of, financial support, which has been great over the past few months to help businesses get over what they've got over. However, the price is going to be paid later. So, all these loans that were issued just recently, we've got 1 year where we don't have to pay any interest. 1 year, you don't have to make any payments on this. A year's time, we're going to have to be paying back a decent amount of money. It's about 800 quid or so if you took out the full 50K. So that's waiting down the line for us. So again, there's going to be business owners right now artificially propped up because of those bailouts, but they already know that a proportion and a decent proportion of those loans will never get repaid. They're underwritten by the government. They won't get repaid because the businesses won't be able to get that money back into the business in time to start paying those loans back. Now, I don't want you to be one of those people. And every single member of my success groups, my Extreme Growth Masterminds, I've said it's like we're building an ark, right? And this ark is for all those business owners, then we're going to survive the potential floods that are coming. Now, again, we can hope and cross our fingers, and, Boris Johnson's doing a good job of talking about how we're going to bounce back, etc. But the truth of the matter is many economists around the world are saying we are heading into unprecedented levels of recession. America, they're warning of a second depression over there. We're going into a global downturn in the economy. We're already in it, but we're not necessarily feeling it because of these artificial prop-ups that we've been having over the past few months. And the reason I'm talking about it so much is not to scare you. It's not to be the harbinger of doom and gloom. It's really simple. It's to get yourself ready. This thing, if it's going to hit, is going to hit really hard in autumn. A lot of people are saying it's going to hit hard October, November, December, through the winter. Again, of course, we're hoping, we cross our fingers that maybe it's a short-lived recession. Maybe we can bounce back. The economy can. Again, not being the harbinger of doom, but the truth of the matter is many people, way more intelligent than me, economists, are saying that's really looking unlikely right now. So therefore, it's important, it's imperative that we get ready, we get ourselves in a place where we can tackle whatever comes our way. I've talked in recent episodes that I genuinely believe, no matter how bad it is, that I believe it'll be better on the other side. It always is, by the way. We set our business up in the last recession, And the world that came after that recession was better than the world that went into that recession. I truly believe that no matter what comes our way over the winter, and if it is a full-blown recession that lasts a number of years, I have absolutely no doubts that what is coming on the other side is better than what we had just a few months ago before we came into this shitstorm. So the good news is this: the world will continue to improve. But in order to improve, as I talked about in an episode last week, it will potentially have to crumble in certain aspects in order for us to rebuild what comes better next. So you can treat this tsunami, if you like, instead of something that comes in and annihilates the world, it's something that actually prepares the world for what comes next. And instead of getting drowned by the wave, instead of getting swamped by the wave, instead of getting picked up and dragged along by the wave, we want to think of ourselves as a surfer. And we want to kind of surf that wave, surf that tsunami of a recession, get ourselves on top of it so that we can handle whatever comes our way. We need to be prepared. We need to be adaptable. We need to evolve. We need to be creative. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to keep our heads when other people around us are potentially going to lose theirs. But I do genuinely believe there's a massive opportunity, not just on the other side of it, but there is an opportunity for us right now, if we get prepared for it, that we can actually continue to grow throughout this coming recession. If it doesn't happen, it's not going to hurt that I've been sitting there saying to you, get ready for it, because as long as the tactics and strategies you put in place are ones that support your business anyway, like upping your sales game, like looking to your client base and perceiving the world from their perspective so that you can have more intelligent conversations with your client base. All that stuff is really good, valuable stuff. I'm not sitting there saying batten down the hatches. I'm not sitting there saying, right, stockpile the fridge. I'm not sitting there saying, right, dump the business. I'm not saying do anything drastic. I'm saying just get ready, get prepared, double down on the shit that is proven to grow businesses, because it's the same stuff that's also going to get you through a potential recession. Now, the reason I'm talking about this at the end of this week is because I did talk a little bit about this at the beginning of the week, and I think, right, let's bookend this, talk a little bit about the recession, and let's try and leave this week on a little bit of a high, try and get you empowered and get your perspective in a place where you are potentially not fearful or fretting or anxious about what may or may not be coming down the line. So first and foremost, understand that there'll be something better on the other side. Number two, understand that it is possible for you to get up on that surfboard and surf this thing, not get drowned by it. And the other thing I wanted to really iterate to you is that the majority of businesses will be okay. And the majority of people will be okay. And the chances are you'll do okay. And the chances are your business will do okay. If your head's in the right place, if you're prepared to fight, if you're prepared to do what you need to do, prepared to adapt, you're going to do okay. The truth of the matter is, like all recessions, unfortunately, like all catastrophes, it will affect some people a lot and a lot of people some. And the chances are that you're in that big category of people where it will affect you to some degree, but it won't necessarily affect you a lot. And the people who can keep their heads, the people that can keep their perspectives in place, the people that are willing to fight, potentially fight like fuckery in order to stay on top, then the chances are that this will affect you some. But for some people, it will affect them a lot. And that is an unfortunate consequence of going through a recession or going through any kind of, if you like, natural disaster. The majority of people are not affected that badly, and some people are. So if you are in an industry or business or an individual that gets affected a lot, then you're going to have to fight a lot harder than, say, for the majority of people where it's going to affect them to some degree. And if you're affected to some degree, but you're complacent or you're lazy or you're not creative, then very quickly you're going to find this thing will affect you a lot. And there'll be some people that absolutely cruise this thing, and there'll be some people that have to fight like hell through this thing. The main thing is we keep our head, we keep our agenda, we keep optimistic and positive, we surround ourselves with the right people, surround ourselves with the right information, the right education, we have the right expectations of ourselves, we go out there on our best foot, we continue to put growth strategies in place. At the end of the day, if you're a 50K business, there's so much more opportunity out there right now that even if the market was to halve, you've got such a small amount of that market, there's still a huge opportunity for you to grow. If you're £250,000 business, you know, there's such a tiny slither of the market that you're occupying right now that even if your industry sector, your marketplace took a massive hit, there's still so much more opportunity to tap into out there than you are right now. You might have to work a bit harder for it. You might have to get more creative for it, but you might find that this is the very catalyst that you've needed in order to really level up and to raise your game in business and as a business owner, so that you start to actually get the rewards that were always on offer to you, but maybe you never really tapped into because you never tapped into that fight or that creativity before. You never had to before, and therefore you've missed out on the opportunity that's out there for you right now, and the opportunity that is still coming for you right now. Even if overall that opportunity is shrinking, for you, it's still massive. Big companies, big corporates, certain industries, there's no question they're going to get hit really hard. We know through the lockdowns, for example, certain industry sectors were hit really hard. Other industry sectors, the majority of them were hit somewhat, and a few of them absolutely sailed. They cruised through it. And for some of those, they've actually grown their businesses exponentially because they're in the right industry at the right time, they're in the right marketplace at the right time, and therefore they've even managed to grow throughout this. It will be the same if we end up going into a full-blown recession. Some people will get affected a lot. A lot of people will get affected some. There'll be some that absolutely sail through it, and there'll be some that absolutely have to fight like crazy. So what you need to do right now is just keep your eye on the ball, keep assessing the situation, reevaluate your business, reevaluate your positioning, your products, your services, your pricing, continually really get under the skin of your market, your industry, your client base. Really make those connections with your client base. You know, be the business that offers the solutions that your client base needs. Look at how you've been positioning yourself and marketing. If you're like a lot of small business owners, you know, you've got away with being a little bit lazy with your sales activity, a little bit lazy with some of your marketing and your communications. You've been a little bit lazy maybe with your positioning and your value proposition. In a booming economy, we can get away with being a bit lazy. So what you need to do is you need to literally tighten up the screws on this thing, really double down on the stuff that's going to make your business successful, and really apply those strategies and those tactics now like you've never applied them before. If the economy doesn't go to shit in the autumn, guess what? You're in a massively great position to make huge gains in the opportunity that comes if we go into a quick bounce back. If we do go into a full-blown recession, you are brilliantly positioned not only to survive it, but I genuinely believe to thrive it and to continue to grow your business through it. So there's the opportunity for you. The truth of the matter is, most people will not be that adversely affected by it. It's possible that many people will be affected to some degree. Some people will be affected to a much larger degree. We have to just adapt to what's coming down the road. And no matter how bad it gets, even it gets to the point where many of us are affected to a great degree of this thing, we have to still understand that whatever comes next will always be better, because that's how it works. No matter how dark it gets in the middle, no matter how bad it feels as we go through the process, what comes next is always better. When we look back, we'll see how it was an important part to play in all of the great things that we create in that future. If we can take that hindsight, turn it into foresight, and start to see the good on the other side before we're even on the other side, it's going to keep our spirits high. It's going to keep our optimism in place. It's going to keep our momentum, our motivation, and our drive. And that is how we get ourselves on top and stay on top. Have an absolutely awesome weekend. Don't forget, if you want to get yourself on the six-figure fast track, go to biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. And I'll take you through a whole process of the six-figure mindset, the six-figure business model, the six-figure methodologies that you need to have in place, the day-to-day activity that you need to have in place. More importantly, I guess, is the stuff you shouldn't be doing that's holding you back in order to take your business to 100K or more in the next 12 months or less. The rules for business growth are the same. The rules for the six-figure fast track are the same. It's the landscape and the environment and the economy that's changing. And therefore, it's more important than ever that we apply the right strategies and the right growth tactics that give us business success and business growth. The rules for success are still the same. We just need to make sure that we diligently double down on those and make sure that we're doing the right things given what we're going through right now and what may be staring down upon us in the not so distant future. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you on the other side. Until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.